It's still spinning. It says excellent connection. There you go.
Good evening. We're going to go ahead and get started this evening at 6:30. Welcome to the April 8th, 2024 Selectmen's meeting. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Open it up for public comment.
Good evening, Kyle Parker, Old Francistown Road. Last week, towards the end of the meeting, the issue of emails and communication and contacting the board was brought up, and I came in because my name was mentioned. And I'd first like to say that kind of an apology.
It's okay.
The way I did that was not meant to make you in any way anybody look stupid. And so when I contact the board, I individually put in each of the board members' names, so everybody gets it. I don't use the, contact the board link, only because in the past I've heard some of the other board members say sometimes and it may have been, email issues. I've heard Hippler had said he didn't get, over the years. So when I contact the board, I send them directly. I punch in each of the board members' names and send them, and that's how I do the communication. And to me, that kind of ensures that everybody's going to get the email. How it's handled, internally is fine, but that's how I do it, and it wasn't in any way. And again, Naomi, there was you didn't point blame at me. I'm just coming in to say that it wasn't a malicious or intent to make anybody look like they didn't know what they were doing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Can I go over and say something?
Oh, certainly.
I'm Naomi Bolton, 42 Norris Road. I just want to take a minute to thank, last Wednesday, my granddaughter got hurt out there, fell off the slide on her head, broke her arm. She's 3. I just want to thank Chief Rorick, Chief Moore, Sergeant Montplaisir, Sergeant McGuire were there, and Chad Averill also came to help her. They had a very busy day, so we had to wait for Henniker, but I just want to thank everyone for the care she got. Now
How's
she's
she
in
doing?
a hot pink cast, so
Oh.
she's all set.
She's doing well.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else for a public comment? Okay. Next up is the Flanders Memorial Road traffic discussion. I don't know, Paul, if you want to go first, or Chief, if you want to go first. I'll leave it up to you guys how you want to handle it. Thank you. Could you tell everybody your name and address or street?
Paul Gannon, 192 Flanders Memorial Road. Thank you for taking the time. I'm coming back again to ask that the Select Board look at the speed limit on Flanders Memorial Road. I would like to see it reduced from its current 35 miles per hour. I would like to see it reduced to reflect the surrounding town roads that are all at 30 miles an hour, that are of similar layout as Flanders Memorial. Quaker Street is 30, Thorndike 30, Reservoir 30, Hodgson 30. East Road, I believe, is 30 after the 20 mile an hour speed limit by the school. 35, I believe, is too fast for the road. I've been there for 20 years this June, and I know what I've observed over 20 years. And 35, by the layout of the road, I feel is too fast for the grade of the road, the fact that there's no dividing line, no markings on the road, there's no shoulders. So I understand that dropping it to 25 is not a necessarily practical matter, but as a select board, I believe you can make that decision to reduce it to 30, and I would like it to reflect the surrounding town roads. And if not, then I'd like to know what are the criteria used to determine the speed limit, and who in the town is the engineer or, civil engineer who makes the determination of speed limits for roads.
Any questions for Paul while he's up? Okay,
Okay.
thank you. Well,
Okay.
yeah.
I have a couple of other.
Oh,
We
oh,
also live on that road.
oh, please, yeah.
Hello, my name's Trent Ray. I live on 282 Flanders, just down the street from him. So we live at the bottom of that part of the road. So you have to hit the hill up the top, you come down the bottom. Constant speeders all the time. I know when you have it at 35, most people are going to drive 40, 45, even faster. Late at night, all the time I hear speeders. And to his point, there's no middle line, there's no sides, there's no mirrors. It's just kind of a free-for-all road. So it makes sense that it would fit kind of the 30 in which the other towns he mentioned. So just here to support that as well, because we've only been there, 3 years now, maybe 4, but I've seen it in my quick 4 years here. So love to continue living here, and hopefully that could change. So thank you.
Thank you. Chief?
So Chief Moore, Mr. Gannon has brought us his concerns with speeding on Flanders Memorial last summer, I believe, when they started. So,
No, actually, they started 3 chiefs ago, when Chief
Oh.
Began was here.
Wow.
So it went to Chief Valeka, and then it went to the interim chief who was in Maine, and then you got the brunt of it.
yep. So we greatly appreciate that. You know, citizens need to be our eyes and ears so we know what's going on out there. When we get a complaint like that, we look at a couple things just to determine if there's any safety concerns. We look at accidents in the area. When I looked at a year's worth of accidents, there were 2 accidents on Flanders. One was due to an individual who was drunk driving. The other one was at the bottom of the hill at the stop sign where somebody ran into the bottom of they ran into the side of them because they thought they could go through the stop sign, but they couldn't. We also, of course, got our new piece of equipment last year, the mobile speed monitoring device, which we deployed on Flanders earlier this year. It was back in January, I believe. We put it in both directions just so we got cars going up the hill and down the hill. We registered 4,628 vehicles. Out of that, 207 were exceeding the posted speed limit sign of 35 miles an hour. 3,091 vehicles were recorded driving 25 to 35 miles an hour, and another 1,330 vehicles were recorded under 25 miles an hour. One vehicle was traveling at 50, and the second fastest vehicle was traveling at 45. The majority of the speeding vehicles, and again there were 207 of those, were 5 or under over the limit. So actual speeding from what we gathered then was rare. It was 4.4% of all vehicles, and incidents which would actually require police intervention was 4/10,000ths of a percentage point. Now, we are going to deploy the sign back just to make sure the data we got were good. Since it was winter, people may have been slowing down because of ice or snow or other road conditions. So we want the roads clear. We're going to try it again just to see if the data holds up, and we'll report those results to Mr. Gannon and the board as well. We don't have anything to do with increasing or decreasing speed signs, but as far as it being a safety issue from accidents or speeders that we are seeing, we're not seeing it.
When are you planning on putting the?
Probably, it'll be next month at the latest. We're waiting for the snow to clear. Probably wait for the mud to get a little solid, just so people travel their natural speeds.
Okay.
Can I ask a question? Sure. To go up? Okay. Well, my question's to you. So what was
People
it like?
just can't hear you
Oh,
on the
no
video.
worries. So was it 2 months ago or 3 months ago, there was 2 different instances where someone hit a pole, right, on Flanders? Was that due to a speeding, or was that, do you know why they hit that pole? Because I'd consider that an accident.
I did not look at that accident, so
Okay.
the data that I pulled was when Mr. Gannon first brought me
Got
our
it,
concern,
okay.
so
This might be
probably
new
December-
stuff.
Yes.
Got it, okay, that's
Yeah,
all.
I haven't looked at those accidents since
Okay.
then, but I'll be more than happy to pull that.
Yeah, no, I was just wondering, because power went out twice in like 1 month, and then 2 poles were hit, and I thought that was a bit of a coincidence, so.
I'll pull when we put the speed out, I'll update the accident information as well.
Perfect, thank you.
And Mr. Gannon can get that?
Yeah, no
you can get it
problem.
from Mr. Gannon? Okay.
Yep.
I mean, you can reach out to me too, and I'll direct you.
No problem, I know where you guys are.
How far back did you say the accident data was?
So I looked at a year's worth of data when I pulled
year,
it, and
okay.
I believe I pulled it in December.
Okay.
So it would have been December of 22 to December of 23.
Okay. Any other questions for the chief? I think someone else came in that wanted to speak.
I'm Becky Nelson.
Could you say it in the mic, please, for people at
My
home?
name's Becky Nelson. I live at the top of Flanders. I missed the beginning,
Thank you.
but I did notice the two spots that the speed, where they were positioned, and it was right on corners. So I think if you positioned one at the stop sign at Holly Hill, you're gonna see a drastic difference.
We can do that.
I would like to see the speed limit drop to 30, especially with the difference in, I mean, was it Quaker Street that is a 30?
All of us around
There's no reason that Flanders should be a 35. It's way too windy, there's too many blind corners.
There's no precautions on the road. There's no lines, nothing on the side.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank
And
you,
the
Becky.
guardrails are tipping into the woods to boot.
I'll make sure when we deploy the sign again, we put it at the top of the hill, bottom of it, we'll move it all over Flanders that way,
And it
but
makes
it'll
sense.
stay on Flanders.
You can put it in my front yard if you want.
Makes sense now in winter as well. You know, winter, you're gonna automatically see a reduced speed.
Just one more point for the chief. Paul Gannon, Flanders Memorial. With regard to the accidents, year and a half ago, some young lady came down Flanders, sideswiped my neighbor Keith Earp's barn, not took it out, but went down the whole line of it, and Becky's daughter helped her. Do you remember that? Yeah, so again, accidents on the road. There've been, right across the street from my house, young lady came down the road, bang into his barn, and, don't know if it was speeding, don't know if it was distracted driving, but she came down that windy hill and slammed right into his barn. And it was good weather, wasn't night, she was a young driver, maybe that was it, but with regards to accidents, that was about a year and a half ago.
I can get as much data as the board would like me to. I can go back 5 years if y'all want. Up to you how much data you want me to get. I figured a year would be good, but.
Yeah, do we need 5 years?
Is there a possibility to do a comparison on the roads that do have the 30 as opposed to ours and kind of cross comparison? Which ones have the accidents? Maybe we have more or less? Is that too much?
Apples, oranges, because you got hills,
Yeah,
curves.
I mean, we all got different hills, different.
If you think there's a road which is
Yeah.
similar to yours and
Okay.
where, which has that,
Okay.
I can absolutely get that data for
okay.
you.
I'm just thinking, look at the comparison because that's what we do a lot in
Yeah.
my work. So okay.
Yeah, if you send me something where you want me to
Yeah.
compare, I'll
Okay.
compare that for you.
All right.
5 years, 1 year, whatever you like.
Fair enough.
Any questions for anybody else? Other than if we were to decide to investigate the speed limit change, what's the process?
Chief and I talked about that earlier today, and I believe further, and I think why it was 35 versus 30 is when we first put out the speed limits, it was long before the development on the hill. So there wasn't as much traffic at that time as there now is with the 46 lots, I think, up on top of the hill. So I think there has an increased in demand in traffic, which I think you increase the cars, you increase people, you increase everything. And I think that's why it was 35 at the time, because it was a little bit more rural than some of the other ones. It's my understanding that if there's enough data and the board wants to do it, they certainly can. Anything 20, you can't do 25, 25 is advisory, but 30 is something that you guys could control with recommendation from an engineer or the chief's data.
Do we need to have a public hearing?
No, we didn't have to. You guys are in charge.
Okay, so,
I'm pretty confident Benji said last time, and he'd probably say it again, and I'll ask him if he shows up. I think he had proposed for a townwide speed limit.
yeah, I was
Kind
gonna
of
ask about that. That was brought up in July of '23 when, that's the minutes for the last year that I found, and it was suggested, but I don't see that we ever had any discussion or action
Yeah,
around
I
it.
thought it was an interesting idea.
Yeah.
Would there be any downside to dropping the speed limit?
I can't see any, but.
I don't know. somebody else will come in here and asking us to put it back. I don't know, that's possible, but, I don't, downside, I mean, it's just gonna be safer theoretically, so,
Take me an extra 2 seconds to get from one side to the other.
yeah.
I think the town-wide one is, a lot of towns do it because the signs get knocked down, stolen, don't get replaced, and how do you know how fast you're going? Unless your little car thing tells you what speed limit is, but that's not always accurate.
And it won't be accurate if we update Flanders.
Well, we have to send it to,
Eventually,
you have to
yeah.
send it to the state to
Yeah.
update it, right?
Okay.
To
Thoughts?
update to a townwide, is that?
I mean, if you do it town-wide, we just have to let the state know, so all the data could be updated at the same time. You can do it town-wide, a lot of them do town-wide, and then if there's not a sign on the road or anything like that, doesn't say you can do 50 if it's not posted, it's town-wide.
Okay. Thoughts?
Getting more data would be helpful. I think especially, yeah, not the winter data. And with the other locations like y'all talked about, I think it's a great idea, great next step.
Okay. And then, I need discussion about townwide speed limit unless otherwise posted. Do you wanna wait for the data and have that discussion all together, or just forget about
I
it?
guess, how hard would it be? Do you have handy, like, just a spreadsheet, roads and speed limits? Because if we have a ton of variance now, that would throw things off, but if we're almost at that anyway,
That's actually a project we're working on because Sergeant Plaisir started, I believe it was last summer, mapping all the signs in all the roads because they have to be part of, where they were approved by the Board of Selectmen and put on file with the clerk. And not all of them were done, that we can find records. Because if we enforce signs throughout the town, whether it be a stop sign or a speed limit sign, it has to be a sign which was approved by the board and is on file with the clerk. If we don't have that, we can't prosecute that. So that's a project we were undergoing. Having a townwide speed limit would greatly speed up that process. Because now we can fix the signs that are incorrect, and it takes one vote by you guys instead of us getting a map of every single sign with its GPS location, what the sign is. And some signs just don't make sense. If you go one way on a road, it's 35. If you go the other way, it's 30. Same location, it just depends on if you're going east or west. It's kind of crazy. There's a couple locations like that in town. So signage is a little confusing in this town, and a townwide speed limit, unless otherwise posted, would.
That wouldn't resolve that difference, the directional difference, because it is posted.
Right. Well, we would bring that to the board's attention and get that corrected if we did something like that. We're gonna bring that one to stuff like that. We're getting our list together.
Okay.
So we can bring it to you all's attention to get it fixed and then get it on file with the clerk.
Do you think you can have all that when you have the data for Flanders?
No. It's a huge project. You're talking every sign in town.
Can you have that in that geographical area around Flanders?
Yes.
Okay.
Might already have that.
Okay. All right.
How many different speeds do we have in the town? Just 30, 35, or?
No.
25,
There's
30?
25s, 50s, 45s. I mean, there's pretty much all of them.
Town roads, though.
Yeah,
We
town
can't-
roads.
Town
we
roads.
can't- We
Yeah.
can't control the state.
So advisories don't count. It might just be 30, 35 off the top of my head.
I
25.
thought River had some 40s. I could be wrong, though. I don't travel that road a lot, but I thought it had some 40s.
I can't imagine.
I'm not sure off the top of my head.
Okay.
You have a couple in 25 that are black on yellow, which is advisory.
Right, that's just advisory,
Right. That's,
which we can't enforce. We only enforce the white and the white signs with the black.
But even if there was a reason for 40 on River, you could leave that posted.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Yeah.
We're talking 5 miles per hour.
Correct.
Okay.
Almost seems like a no-brainer to.
The May-ish timeframe, you think?
Yes. Yeah, as soon as like we get through mud season where people are going normal.
Okay, and that's a 1 week, 2 week collection?
Yes, we're going, just because up and down the
Right,
hill.
you have to move
they're
it a
so
lot.
different.
Yeah,
We were planning on running at the same time frame.
okay, all right. Well, Mr. Flanders, Mr. Gannon on Flanders, sorry to defer you, but we're going to collect more data and then have a discussion in May and hopefully not put it out any farther than that. Okay?
Could we?
I know you will.
Can we pencil in the 20th or 27th?
Well, let's wait till they have the data. I don't want to, dictate his schedule, but
Okay.
sometime in late May or early June for sure.
Yeah, I'm hoping by mid-May.
Okay. All right. Well, we appreciate your feedback, and thanks everybody else who gave us some input. You're welcome to stay.
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good night. Very nice meeting you. Okay, Chief, you're up again for Highway Grant.
So we've been awarded an additional $3,600 from the New Hampshire Office of Highway Safety to conduct speed and DUI enforcement patrols. This is an amendment to the previously approved 2024 Highway Safety Grant, number 24193. The town's matching contribution, $900, is obtained through using the vehicle and completing the grant paperwork, which is administrative duties. No direct funding is necessary for the matching portion, which the town is obligated to provide. If the Board of Selectmen approves, actually, I don't need to read that, so that's what that is.
How long of duration does this,
It goes through September 30th. They go by fiscal year. October 1st is the new fiscal year.
questions for the chief?
So this is
Down
just,
for me
I'm sorry.
On where the $900 coming from?
So like if, obviously you've seen the grant packets, me filling out that or Corporal Valero filling out that, there's an hourly rate which goes through that. If it takes him 3 hours, we times that by his hourly rate plus benefits to come up with a total. And once we get that matching contribution totaled, it usually takes care of it. We've never been short. Usually between his time alone, it hits the 25%.
Okay.
Much less my time on top. Like this would count as an hour, me presenting it to you guys
Okay.
as part of the matching contribution.
And so this just goes in fund for the specific,
It's reimbursed, so we perform the details, we submit paperwork to the state, and the state will send us a check.
Anything else?
I guess so. Excuse me. So what will you be spending the $3,600 on?
Specifically on speed and DUI enforcement. It's the
So-
hourly wages of officers who go out and work the grant.
I think
4
last
hour
year,
blocks.
because I think last year, because you're talking, it's amending the one that we approved last year.
Correct.
And again, if I remember right, you talked about adding a certain number of, whether it was hours or shifts or,
Yes, so usually they're 4-hour shifts, so we'll, depending on who works, obviously, different officers get paid different amounts. If we're given $1,800 in each of these type of grants, it's probably gonna be 4-hour shifts before the funds are gone.
okay. What was the original amount? Last year's?
Not sure if I printed out that page. I did, so it brings us up to $12,800. I want to say we were $9,600 if I'm not mistaken, but I'm gonna do my math on the calculator. Somewhere in there. With the new 3,600, we're now up to $12,800 in traffic enforcement patrol grants. As part of that grant, we also had all the speed equipment. So we're over $20,000 as far as this grant, I believe. I don't have that page with me.
Okay.
Let's see, 5,800, 9,200 is what we were approved before, so now another 3,600, and we're at
Has
12,800.
that 92 been spent?
Close. That's why they're giving us more money.
Okay.
On speed and DUI, we also have funding for, like, texting, that we have to wait for their mobilization before we start that.
Any other questions? Okay. I'd like to make a motion then to accept the $3,600 in funding from the New Hampshire Office of Highway Safety as part of an amendment to grant number 24-193 for SPUI and DUI enforcement patrols by the Ware Police Department, with the matching funds of $900 coming from wages and benefits of the officers performing the administrative duties of the detail.
Second?
Okay. All in favor? Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? Abstain? I think I heard 4-0. You're good to go. I didn't say whether chief should sign it or not, so I would recommend that the Chief Moore sign it. I'd like to make that motion.
Second?
All in favor? Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
thank you. Appreciate you coming in this evening.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
You too.
Two.
Okay, ready to move on to cemetery mapping?
Yep.
Back in March 18th, I believe Mildred Hall gave us $2,500 for mapping East Ware, Pine Grove, and Johnson cemeteries, and Naomi sent us 2 bidders. I believe it was Global Star, and I'm not sure if it was Robert Balquist as an individual or as company Miser Brem. Do you know?
No, as an individual.
Individual. Okay. So Star quoted 4,000, and Mr. Balquist from Ware. Star's from Suwanee, Georgia, and Mr. Balquist is from Ware. He quoted 2,500. So, did either one of them say the duration of the project?
No, but there was strings attached with the Mildred Hall, if you remember.
Right. I wanted to make sure that we weren't going to lose the Mildred Hall money because they can't execute in that time frame.
No. I mean, he'll have to know that it's in that time frame. I'm sure he's watching. He watched last week.
Do you have that Mildred Hall timeframe handy?
Didn't bring it. I tried to go light today.
Being completed in 2 years.
2 years. It's from the date that they awarded
Yeah,
it to us,
It
March.
says on March 6th of 2024, they voted to recommend $2,500 be expended for the purpose of mapping East Ware, Pine Grove, Johnson, with the stipulation that the work be completed in 2 years, and
Okay.
payment be done in thirds for each of the cemeteries is
Okay.
completed.
And you did say March 6th?
March 6th of '24.
Okay. And where would that money come from? I know it comes from Mildred Hall, but
Yeah,
was it
we put in
deposited?
the request.
Or will it be a reimbursement?
I believe it's gonna probably be a voucher like you guys
Okay.
have seen before, because that's a different fund altogether.
Okay. So in that case, we have to pay it from the general fund?
And then, once you pay it, she gives a copy of the check to the trustees, and then we get the check back.
Any discussion?
I can repeat what I said last week. It definitely seemed like the right choice when we talked about it last year. And again, it was, I mean, we'd kind of made the decision, and then we had, as a board last year, and we're waiting for Mildred Hall, who came through early last month.
Very generously. Anything else? Okay. Well, then I'll make a motion to accept the, or make the award to Mr. Balquist for mapping of East Ware, Pine Grove, and Johnson cemeteries in the amount of $2,500 coming from the general fund to be reimbursed from the Mildred Hall donation, and the project to be executed in the 2-year or less time frame from March 6, 2024. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Any opposed? Abstention? Okay. We got 4-0, so that passes. All right. Sugar and spice. Naomi had sent us a couple weeks ago, Sugar and Spice's request to renew the lease, and then she sent us a formatted lease with information filled in, and as well as the operating license showing their validity through March 31st, 2027. Anything else about that you want to say, Naomi?
Me? No.
Yeah, no, okay,
I think Dave asked a couple questions and I followed up today.
okay, yeah.
Only of what I know. I don't really know their operation per se. I've used it with my kids and my grandkids, but I know when we were part of it, it's like a co-op, you have to do chores, what I called it. You pick something you wanted to do. Whether you were gonna do the laundry, whether you were gonna, I know we had availability for equipment and material at the time, so we supplied some sand. I know there's some trees been taken down too, there's things that they have to do.
Okay. The lease says that the town will be notified of any repairs or improvements made by the tenant. Do we know if they've made any over the last term?
They have done some roofing, they've done some trim work. They usually, they did the roof, but they'll let us know just to. that
So
it's
that's
going to
working
happen.
well?
Yes.
Okay. It also says that the town will receive a monthly financial aid report.
Yeah, we don't.
Do we
don't,
get
as
those,
far
and
as
what do
I-
we do with them?
As far as I know, I honestly have not seen them.
Okay. Would they go to Beth, or would they come to you?
Could very much go to Beth, but I don't know that we've seen them, because they do bring in a monthly check every month to the finance.
Okay. If we don't use them for anything and we don't get them, we probably ought to remove it from the lease.
Okay? Or we can ask to
Yeah. Yeah, I don't.
follow up on it.
Yeah, if we
Title,
don't get them,
yeah.
yeah. Or what will we use them for, I don't know. And I looked at the insurance, it does have the declaration page showing the town of Ware as an additional insured, so that part seems to be in order. General liability insurance, bodily injury and property damage of 1 million per occurrence to 2 million aggregate. And it also says that there should be 500,000 for property damage. If I read the insurance writer correctly, I think it only shows 100K for property damage.
Damage to rented premises, yeah, it does.
So that would need to be updated. Any other discussion, questions, concerns?
Nope.
I guess, David sent an email earlier, it was to Naomi. Naomi responded to all of us as, usually goes. And that included, I guess you had suggested it couldn't hurt to have somebody come in.
Yeah, if you want to.
I kind of like the idea. It's $1,500 a year, right?
Mhm.
So it seems like kind of a friendly arrangement. Personally, I'd like to put a face to a name and, understand the arrangement between the town
Yeah,
and them.
I don't have a problem doing that. I stop every Tuesday. So I have to pick up somebody every Tuesday, so if you want, I'll make that appointment.
Okay.
And we can do it, do you want to do it next week?
We can pencil that in and then see where we get when we end the meeting. All right. So everybody's okay with having them come in hopefully soon and then taking any action on this?
And in parallel, you had a few requests, like the.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm assuming we'll get those answered when they come in or before, which was financial aid reports and the insurance for property damage. Okay. Moving right along. Board of Selectmen Operations Policies next on the agenda. I sent out draft number 2 after our discussion last week. I know we kind of bounced around a little bit when we got to the end of the meeting on different topics, so hopefully those following along at home were able to keep up with that part of the conversation. This is the operations policy for the Board of Selectmen's meetings. And we looked at draft number 1 last week and had a few changes, such as where the agenda gets posted. I took some run-on sentences and broke those apart. And then we updated the notification for if there's a vacancy on the Board of Selectmen, leaving that posting for citizens who might be interested in filling that vacancy. We put that at 10 calendar days, posting in the same locations as the original vacancy notification, which would be the same thing that's used for meeting notices and agenda publications. So other than adding the town clerk on the bottom, just to kind of close the loop on how documentation gets recorded by the town clerk. I don't think I made any other changes, so hopefully you guys have had a chance to read through that and,
I just have 3 little tweaks.
okay,
They're on the first page.
okay.
Second paragraph, the where Board of Selectmen's,
Shall meet, yeah,
and really so the no apostrophe.
Selectmen, yeah.
Yep, and then, shall meet at least just the ambiguity of bi-weekly. I think we should just spell out every other week.
okay. Yep,
And then jumping down to the next paragraph, agenda, at the end of the first line, it says administer, it should be administrator.
yep,
And then at the end of that paragraph, it says, "The board endeavors to exceed the timely posting requirements of New Hampshire RSA 91A by posting the agenda at least 48 hours in advance," but 91A, it doesn't require an agenda, so just be a little more pedantic about it by
Meeting
posting the
notice.
meeting with an agenda. Because I think it's good to say we will exceed both the time and we will exceed by including an agenda.
okay. So I'll change the agenda to meeting notice with agenda,
And that's all I had.
okay?
In the 4th paragraph, should be noted most board meetings will include a public comment. I don't know if we wanted to add in there, each speaker will be allowed up to 5 minutes to express their comments.
I thought about putting that on there, but then every time if we decided to change that to 3 minutes or 10 minutes, we'd have to update the policy.
Okay,
So
That's
I
fair.
can put it in there. It's just another detail that might make us non-compliant to the policy.
okay, no, that's fine.
I kind of like including it.
You do?
Yeah, just so people know, if they go to the website, they see, ahead of time, these are the rules that you get to play by. And if somebody comes up and says, hey, your policy says 5 minutes, well, and we've changed it, that's on us.
Yep,
I'd give them the 5 minutes.
okay.
I'll just make it 5 minutes, or would there be instances where we have a lot of people and
That's true.
we might want to limit it to 3 minutes at a particular point. So if we leave it a little more up to discretion of the chair,
Yeah,
the
that,
meeting.
Say by default,
or just state they'll be allowed a time defined by the chair before the meeting. Or at the beginning of the meeting,
yeah, okay.
something to that effect. I'm not the greatest wordsmith.
Okay.
Then subordinate board,
Yeah, I don't like that. If you-
can we put appointed board, committee or commission?
I like that better than subordinate.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think, they're all appointed except for, no, they're all appointed,
Except for the ethics.
yeah.
How often does it show up in this?
It's,
I think 3 or 4 times.
On the bottom, liaison as subordinate there, in the next paragraph.
ex officios,
Because we ran into it last year in some policies we said earlier in the year, same exact thing. I think even the same word subordinate, and didn't like it, and went with like other town boards, committees, commissions, but it is wordy.
I don't mind being wordy, I just, I was just trying to designate that we weren't talking about ourselves, that's all. And so the phrase would be other town
Boards, committees, and commissions.
boards,
Committees,
committees.
commissions.
Okay. Anywhere there's subordinate, I will change subordinate board to that. Okay. What else, Dave?
That's all I got.
Okay. James?
under the ex officios, where we talk about the subordinate boards, others by town or policy or ordinance, and others by mutual agreement. Is there a way to know which is which?
Yes. I believe that when we answer the Article 25, that will be very clear. And we could then amend this and put it as an attachment, that list.
Okay.
Follow me? Vaguely? No, but planning board is a requirement. SIP is a requirement, CIP is a requirement. Park,
Park and Rec.
we believe will be a requirement when they finish their bylaws. Planning board, though, is required by law. CIP is our policy, park would be our policy.
Are there any that fall into that last bucket?
The mutual agreement would be the conservation.
But that's a liaison. At which
Fine.
point I'd scratch the third.
Okay.
And because it leaves it, I would rather say, we shouldn't have just mutual agreements, it should be written down in policy or ordinance.
Okay.
Well, I guess the general question is, when do you know when a committee or commission does not have an ex officio?
By RSA, by statute?
I don't know if there are any statutes that say they're not supposed to have one. An RSA may not say one way or the other, and so the question becomes,
Well,
should they or should they not? And who makes that decision?
there's also the two other committees that are on here, or boards, the Heritage and the,
Right.
those have a set of rules too of who can and cannot.
Yeah, I haven't looked at those to see what they are.
So it's not necessarily select board ex officio, but planning board and, commingling of people between some of these boards, so.
And I would answer your question, not as a lawyer, but if it's not written in the RSA, then the power is not granted to the town, or, political, whatever they call them, the political subdivision.
So if it's not listed in there as having one, then,
Because New Hampshire's not a home rule state. And so, and we ran into this last year with something else.
okay.
I'm sure somebody else would argue the opposite, but that's my understanding of it.
Okay.
So do you want them listed or not listed? Or we're okay with just saying others by policy and ordinance?
I think certainly for now, and then if we need to, we can add that. If there's another discussion that needs to happen.
Like you said, as we gather more on 25,
25.
then it becomes clearer, I think, to everyone.
Yeah.
Make that decision then.
Okay. What else do you have, James?
That was all the other things that I had.
Okay. All right. I will make those changes and we'll bring it in next time on letterhead for signature. Is that all right?
Yep.
Good. Yeah, I don't know if it goes on letterhead or what it goes on, but Naomi can set me straight.
Yeah, did you get all the corrections? 'Cause
I think I did, yeah. I'm pretty sure I did. Okay. All right, I think that takes us to the manifest, correct? So I'd like to move that we order the treasurer to sign the payroll and accounts payable checks dated April 11th, 2024, as included in the following manifest. Payroll, $90,269.47, and accounts payable manifest of $257,935.16, for a total of $348,204.63. Is there a second?
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor? Yes?
Yes.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Believe that passed unanimously. I don't think I gave this back to you last week, Naomi, I'm sorry.
She gives me one,
Oh,
so
she
I don't
does?
know if you
Okay.
want it. Doesn't matter.
All right.
Thank you.
So I think that brings us to minutes, is that correct? Where do you want to start? Backwards or forwards? I think 318 is the oldest one.
I neglected this again. So the only one I'm prepared to talk about is the one I wasn't here for, and I'm gonna abstain. 27th.
Okay, well, all three of us were here on the 18th, so if other two are prepared, we can go ahead and do the 18th.
Double check. Got some notes somewhere.
I did, I just can't remember what they went to. Let me pull it up.
Yeah, if I don't write them down, I don't get it. I
Wrote it
can't, I
down,
can't
but-
do that.
No, I can't put it
just
in
can't.
context.
Do you have 318 up?
Oh, I have to do the same thing. I have
Oh,
to
okay.
write 'em.
Okay. Line item 14, while Dave's pulling up his comments. Maria Fasciano, she did come into the room, but she left. She didn't stay for the meeting. And line item 37, possibly insert fire between acting and chief. I don't think we have any other acting chiefs, but just from the clarity of its fire.
Yep.
And after line item 200, can we add that there is a general consensus that public comment should be a regular part of the Board of Selectmen meetings? We discussed it, but that there is general consensus that we will do it.
I'm sorry, can you just repeat what you said?
Line item 200, can we add in that area that there was a general consensus that public comment should be a regular part of the Board of Selectmen meetings?
And if I add another sentence, would it be okay to say general consensus is that public comment is to be part of all BOS meetings?
Or a regular part, yeah, because we won't have it at every single one. Potentially, we might occasionally not have it, but
Okay.
it'll be the general rule is we will. Line item 228, it would be a draft. I don't want it to be confused that we were bringing the final policy. It's a draft.
228.
228, change it to a draft.
Gotcha.
And line item 236, correct the spelling of liaison next to Conservation Commission.
Hold that one wrong.
And if we could just clarify that we agreed it was non-voting. That way, it's preserved for posterity. Okay. What do you have?
We got line 53. The second sentence there, the first is to create a committee to advise the BOS on what and how the fire department should run, not just department. Then 236. James
Liaison.
Jury, be Selectmen Jury.
Oh.
That's it.
Okay. James, anything? No? Okay, I'll move that we accept the amended minutes as amended this evening for March 18th, 2024. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Yes?
Yes.
All right. 4-0?
Yep.
Okay. All right, 326 will be the next one.
I have no changes.
Okay. You have anything, James? And you weren't here, right?
No, I
No,
was here.
oh, you weren't for the
and
27th.
No, I did read these.
Okay.
I'm just skimming them again, make sure.
I had something for line item 97, add all in front of members. Does that make any sense?
Couldn't hurt.
Do you have all the members come in? Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm. Anything else?
No.
Okay. Move that we accept the amended minutes as amended this evening for March 26, 2024. Any further discussion?
Second.
Sorry, getting ahead of myself. Thank you. Seconded by Salem. All in favor? Yes?
Yes.
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 Okay. That was also 4-0, so I won't ask for anybody if,
I was absent on the 27th.
okay. I had two corrections for the 27th, well, one question and one correction. Line item 55, the time is 5:33, not 53:03. And I didn't know if we should add our 3 citizen invited guests to the attendees. Anything?
I just had line 38, BOS. I believe it should be a capital O. And line 35, DOT, capital O. That's it.
Anything? Okay. I'll move that we accept the amended minutes as amended this evening for March 27th, 2024. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor? Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? Abstention?
Abstain.
Okay, 301, it still passes. And I believe April 1 is not yet uploaded.
No, that was it. It's that long meeting.
Yeah. And if we can get the final approved minutes back to the website, that would be really appreciated. All right, I think you're up, Naomi, Administrator's Report.
So, changing the format, I was trying to come up with different ways of, I won't keep it long. I just wanted to give you some things that we kind of had done in color, but if I continue to do that, obviously it's gonna make it multi-pages, so I was just gonna leave the color on for maybe a week and then get rid of it. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fair.
I think
Okay.
that would be great.
And there's things that will come back up to be completed that we're working on. Does that work for you guys? I
What do you
know-
mean by the last statement?
So, like, the deed's being worked on now, they're working with the family and the trustee of the trust to do that, so that will have a completion date eventually under outstanding.
Okay.
And then in May, when we do the energy committee, that will become completed. I know, I believe Dave talked about trying to come up with some anticipated timeframes on some of these things. The building inspector one is out there, but I gotta get applications first.
Mhm.
It's been posted, so, I have one person that's applied, but you want more than a pool of one, so. we don't-
Hopefully we'll get more than one.
And then the mapping is done tonight, so, I won't put it in two places, but I just wanted to keep things shuffling that way. And if someone's got a better suggestion, I just trying to keep some dates in there, but I don't want to make it multi-pages after. You can look at it for a while, and one page is ample. I don't think we should get into 4 or 5 pages.
No. No, it should just be current, and it's good to,
Yeah, we left the old ones on there just because we know we have to, but I like Janice's list as well. And maybe we shuffle just to, because I kind of did yours the same way. And I
Okay.
did a meeting date and kind of an estimated completion date, so
Oh,
we could come
great.
up with some. Just
Yeah, some
I
of
was
them are
trying
gonna
to
be
match the two
long,
together,
but
right.
yeah.
Because there are things that we aren't gonna, I don't know that you need to know about joint loss management, because we have to meet quarterly. Once that gets going, they'll be part of the
Yeah,
monthly
I would just
report.
want to know that you've actually restarted it.
Right, and then.
Or if there's any significant
Getting back to
issues.
your, and I know this is a little off, but getting back to your, like, the monthly reports or department reports, they could report when they met and let you know, right? That's a quarterly requirement, not a monthly or a weekly, so it doesn't need to stay on there. The asbestos removal, I don't know that you want that on hold, because that's where the house is by Buzzell Hill, and we just didn't put any funding. We can leave it out there, but if you want to do anything, you're gonna have to have an abatement to that building.
Isn't,
And we had it tested, but we decided because of the funds to do the remediation, we weren't gonna do anything with the Buzzell Hill piece. The one that Conservation's gonna do,
That's what I'm
they're gonna
thinking
do Wednesday night. I got one bid so far. So we did have them tested at the same time, but we were responsible for the Buzzell Hill. The Conservation was doing the Barden property. So we had opted back many, many months ago that we were gonna put it on hold, because we knew the River Road Bridge project was there and we were the owner, but we didn't want to spend the money, excuse me, on taking the building down, because that does cost you remediation money. So I don't know if you want to leave that one on there. The same thing with Tebow. When he's ready, he'll come back. To Collins Cemetery, that's a private cemetery that they want now us to take over, but it's not just that simple for you, those of you that weren't here. We have to notify all the heirs that are in the cemetery and go through a notification process. It's very lengthy through the Charitable Trust Division at the state, who takes care of the cemetery part. You have to try to reach all the heirs that are in there to see, because we don't have any records. It was a private cemetery. So we don't know in a plot if 2 are in there and there's room for another. So we have to try to notify everybody, and that's why we kind of put it on hold, because if you remember, they came to us wanting us to take it over. And Terry Knowles at the time gave us a whole cemetery trustee training, and that's a long process to do. And it's very costly, because you have to try to reach out to all the heirs.
so do we have to take it over?
I don't think you have to, it was a request, but it's timely and costly for us to do. I just don't know that we have to take it over, but I'm just trying, that's an item that will sit on there. Perambulation, we'll start doing those again. I know that's on Janice's list, it doesn't need to be on this list, you know what I'm saying? And IT is on Janice's list. I could break down the IT services on the RFPs like I did here and take them off mine. You know what I mean? I don't think we need to
Yeah,
run
or
two lists.
we can incorporate it all into one list, so, I generated that priority list just to help me make sure that we're not at the end of the year going crap.
Right, and I did more of a completion date and a meeting dates for me so that we could place them appropriately and not be here till midnight.
Yeah, oh, great,
So,
please.
I haven't placed them yet, but I mean, you and I talk, and
Yeah.
like, we can
Yeah.
like you said, we can add things that we can take a time. And you don't need to know about Colby Road, and the gentleman's gonna update us whenever I get anything and share it with you. You know, it's just same things that can come off here.
Yeah, so certain items are just awareness, but there are,
It's awareness,
some are,
yes, thank you.
some are actions.
Yes.
And that's fine. The ones that are, maybe we just list them awareness.
Okay.
And the ones that we have actions, we put dates to. We may not hit those dates, but if we don't put a
Yep.
date, we're not gonna,
Don't know if you don't try,
right.
absolutely.
And we can change them as we go. If we don't get to it, we put another date, and then
Yeah,
we see.
and I can make another column, I could, shrink it up, make another column. If I get rid of some, then it's not pages. But I do like the awareness information, just because things you may not hear for something for a month or more. You may not hear for the Colby Road for a month.
Yep.
And why continue to keep adding paper? So I think I just hit what we addressed, and like I said, I like Janice's idea, but I did go and kind of do Janice's the same way. So I could maybe put the two together, because I do like the timeframes. I haven't filled them in, but like a meeting date, a completion date, kind of give us an idea of where we're going. Because there's certain times a year we have certain things that we have to start.
Yeah.
So for those that are watching, probably a little confused at what I just talked about, but I'm sorry.
Yeah, last week we did the 2024 brainstorming on priorities, and I basically just typed that up into a list. That's the list that Naomi's referring to. And it's not intended to be, this is the only thing we're gonna work on, it's just intended to be, these are the important things that we have to make sure we don't lose track of, while we still deal with everything else.
Yeah, and just one that's on here that I handed around, I think Salem, you came in late after I handed, there's a package from MRI. That's to back up, what we did with the fire chief to get to where we are now. And then I also, just to let you know, I didn't get to talk to Jason today, but the River Road Bridge, now I have to send a package to them as to our meeting dates, how we did it, how we broke it down, and then once they agree to it, then they can give us the green light to enter the scope and fee negotiation with the engineer. So I'm not sure what exactly that entails, but we finished ours, we get approval, comes back to us. But I didn't get a chance to go over anything more with that with Jason today, so.
Okay.
'Cause he
That's
wasn't-
part of that whole long
Yeah.
process.
But it's
so-
a step, we did our step, they approve us to move to the next step. And the next step, which I'll break down once I get all the information, is the scope and fee negotiation with the engineer that you've selected. So we're gonna be back and forth on that one for a while.
Right, but the steps will get added on here, but we get the overall sitting in the, priority list.
I
so-
do.
So we don't lose sight of it.
Right.
Hey, we haven't heard anything on this in a while, what's going on? If it's not on here, at least we have somewhere to be aware that
And
it's still there.
like you guys said, I can put it all together in one place. I hate running two pieces of paper, but
Yeah.
it would just keep things, and awareness, I do like that one versus trying to break it all down.
Yep.
So unless you want to talk about something that's on there, Janice, that's where I'm going with at the moment.
Anybody have
Putting it to
anything specific?
I did not, you did see that I put out the volunteer notice?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and we'll cover that again in correspondence.
Yep, and then, the only thing I couldn't remember is, I'm sharing this with the rest, or are we gonna review that first? This was the policy that you found for the boards, committees, and commissions.
Yeah,
The board,
yeah.
this board was gonna look at it first,
Yeah.
before I shared it with the other boards.
Yeah, I don't know if they've done that or not.
Okay.
So-
But we didn't put it on there for tonight, so.
We did bring forward the policy regarding the volunteers and the things that we actually, what was the name of it? You just said it.
Oh, it's the, policy on boards, committees, and commissions.
Yeah. Did everybody get a chance to
Did
look
you
at that?
guys, it had to do with the volunteers and,
Yeah, I thought we talked about it last week.
Yeah, we did. We were gonna, make sure that you had actually seen it before we loaded it to the website and sent it out to the other boards.
Right.
It was the reason that we generated that list of here are all the volunteer positions. So I could see why the public might be a little confused because we asked for these things without giving them the background on
Right.
why we asked for them.
right.
So, yeah, so we all good to upload that?
I think so.
I didn't
Okay.
have any issues with it.
Okay.
Okay.
And then send it to all the other boards as well. And.
I did find, just in some of my search, and you're gonna find it when you do policies, is, there's a CIB handbook, that is not up on the website either. It's just maybe 6 or 8 pages that should be up on the website under the capital improvements page.
Okay.
And I know there's bylaws for zoning, I cannot locate them, but I have reached out to a couple of older members, because I know we had bylaws when I first started 30 years ago.
Okay.
I just don't seem to have them in the computer, but there are zoning, just like planning board bylaws, there's zoning bylaws for the ZBA.
Okay. And back to the policy on the boards, I did search all of the minutes after that was generated, just to make sure that there weren't any discussions on changing it or rescinding it, and I found nothing. So, all my research points that it is a valid policy.
That's smart.
Okay, so I can upload that to the website.
Yep.
And I'm gonna upload the CIP one too. And like I said, any of you guys want any copies, don't waste your paper, I can make copies for you. Just shoot me an email and ask me to do it.
So there was a correspondence.
Yeah.
Asking about the heritage and the agriculture, that the town decided not, that they weren't needed anymore. But I haven't seen anything that says we've actually had that taken away at a town meeting. So those are still active boards as
Yeah.
far as I'm concerned.
It was my understanding, and like I said, it's been a long time, that no one volunteered. That's how we end up with no members, and it's still listed on the volunteer form because we, I guess, have the hope that somebody might. Same thing with the heritage and agricultural.
Yeah.
Economic development, I couldn't find anything on, I apologize, but it's my understanding in all the years that we did, by town meeting, do both agricultural and heritage, and then we didn't have any more members. Similar to how we ended up being trustees of the cemetery, because nobody ran for those. I'm not aware of that it's been canceled.
Yeah, I couldn't find anything.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Like we said last week, if there is no interest, then this year we should put it on the warrant.
Yeah, I agree. If no one's interested in serving on those two, they were voted in by town meeting. I don't know the exact years, but they were voted in. So we just can't ignore them. But if we don't have volunteers, somewhere over the course of this next year, we should have some kind of public discussion about going down the path of absolving them if we don't see that there's any interest in keeping them.
Yeah, and you have to, where it was created at town meeting.
You'd have to go back to
For instance,
town
the
meeting.
heritage was done in '06 in Article 41, then you go back to town meeting and get rid of it. The agricultural one, I don't remember, I know it was another town meeting vote. And that's how the bylaws were presented at that time, so. Oops. Conservation.
And while you're looking for that, just to clarify for the folks watching at home and in the audience, the correspondence that we're talking about came in this past week from Tara Mann. Mrs. Mann thought that our request for volunteers was misleading and that these positions don't really exist. But I can assure you they are very real openings for regular and alternate members on existing boards and boards which do not have any membership. So I believe we posted those on April 4th, and we were going to leave that open for 2 weeks, if I recall. So if you're watching or listening or know somebody that might be interested, please tell them to reach out to us by April 18th. Okay.
Yeah, and so the other one was 2 years later, March 11th, it was Article 28, and that was for the Agricultural Committee. And that was, as I said, Article 28, March 11th of 2008, and that's when it was created. So
Okay.
if we have no success with those, and I believe they both, I think they're both subcommittees of the planning board, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you're right.
They are. So I haven't seen any new volunteer forms yet.
Yeah, I was going to ask if anybody's...
yet. Not yet.
Okay, well, maybe they'll happen.
So this and this can go to the website. Sorry.
And then week before last, we had some correspondence from Mark Florence from Washington, New Hampshire. He wanted to discuss lessons learned on the changeover to the .gov domain. Did you get with him?
I did not, only because of, I don't know that they got hit as hard as we did, but we had in and
Yeah,
out of weather.
but
But yeah,
you're still on that?
my,
Okay.
He's starred on my email to get a hold of him.
Okay. Those are the two correspondents I'm aware of. Were there any others? Anything to add on?
I got an email from Greg Smith, just let me know that he did meet with Chief Rourke. Had a discussion about the hand-in-hand facility for emergency gathering, I guess, or emergency shelter.
Well, hopefully they'll be able to at least coordinate at a minimum. Thank you. And thanks to Greg and Chief as well for that. Any other correspondence?
I did get a call this weekend from somebody who was strongly encouraging that we look at the having a committee about how to work with the fire department going forward. Just encouraging that we look at that, and that it would be this may be a good opportunity to think about how, if there are any changes that need to be done to the plan that's in place for, keeping it as a full-time versus going back more towards a volunteer or an on-call, more on-call positions.
Okay.
Think-
I think we're going to talk about that next week, right?
Advisory committee.
Well, just the whole
The
fire
fire
integration, yeah.
But, yeah, it's probably not a bad idea. Maybe not to get things rolling, but get an understanding of the track record of the fire department, where it's come from, the transitions it's made over the years, the calls, the relevant data that we should know, because I don't know what that is.
There's about a 10-year history in the town report, page 111.
Did you read that?
This yours? I didn't get one, they were all gone.
No. Oh, yeah. You want one? I can open the door and get you one.
Okay.
You want one? Did you
Yes,
get one?
actually, yeah.
Okay,
I meant
yeah.
to grab
We
one.
still
So we
have
had the
a
pile by the door?
We still
They
have a
were
box.
gone.
Yeah, we have a box.
Okay.
I hope everybody reads
I
them.
meant, like, enough that we could offer them up to anybody?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
So,
believe
yeah,
so.
if anybody wanted a 2024 town report and did not get one because we had run out, we have at least one more box at the town clerk's office?
Yeah,
Okay,
she's got them in there.
town clerk.
Because I didn't get one either, so Clay had asked me if I had one, and I said no, I didn't get a chance to get one. So he put out a Facebook that if anybody had one that they'd read and didn't want, he got some back and brought some over.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, that's nice.
So I'll get you guys
I
one.
believe University of New Hampshire has all those digitized as well. I don't know if they have 24 uploaded yet, but
We
they
have to
have,
send a copy to the state library
Yeah.
too.
okay,
So they have one of ours, but they're not gonna give it up.
yeah,
But it is online too, I put it online.
yeah,
It's up on the right-hand side.
okay.
I think since 17, we put them online.
All right. Okay, want to move on to other business then? I'll let somebody else go first.
I did bring up last week about the bills in, NHMA had talked about going through the House, and Janice, you were correct. They have not gone through the Senate yet.
Oh, okay,
So, look like in the, this week's email that we got, there's been some municipal opposition to it, so I don't know whether we should join that or, or what, but anyway, it still has to go through the Senate, but,
Well, you're open to do anything you want as a private citizen.
right.
That's the
but-
ADU one, is that the ADU one, Dave? Was that
Yes,
the detached one?
Yeah, it was the ADU, it was all of them,
Okay.
all the ones I had mentioned last week.
You're saying that there were other towns where the selectmen had, like, put out a statement or something?
No, I didn't read that much into it, but NHMA was stating that there's been some opposition, to it, that's not, it shouldn't, it's a problem, you're trying to solve a problem that some areas don't have. And that was kind of the gist of it, but I didn't read heavy into it, so I am gonna look it over, but I just wanted to make that statement, because it is not coming right now, but the expectation would be July of 2025, if it does pass.
What else?
Maybe we should talk about this with Jason, but the transfer station revolving fund. I know we say we can't really keep track of it because of money in, money out situation, but there's gotta be a way that we can have some type of itemized running to
Well,
keep an eye on it.
he does keep track of it, he does keep an eye on it, and you can probably talk to this
Yeah.
better than I can, so I'll
The,
let you.
the incoming money could be tracked almost immediately. The outgoing money is roughly a month delayed because of the trucking costs. So it's more, we have pretty good fidelity into, if you look back a month and say, okay, this is what we spent to ship this out, because the bills have been paid and we know what we took in that month. You just can't look at like in a single month column.
Yeah.
So
So the easy stuff is the itemized stuff that we know, air conditioners, propane bottles, things like that.
They track all of it. I just
Yeah,
purged everything.
he had 10 different categories that he tracks.
Okay, so we know what that is, and we know what the disposal,
Yep,
fee
it's
is
the,
for
yeah, the
that.
demo trailer, and then, yeah, like you're saying, the electronics is a separate category. You don't happen to have one with you, do you?
Don't, I could go get one, or I can have Beth just send you the last one if you want. Is that what you're after, is that spreadsheet? Do you want?
the spreadsheet
you
I
got
have,
that? Okay.
I get a copy of that.
Okay.
Which is fine, but that's kinda high level, so it's not, how more intricate can we get? Because I know when I go down there, I gotta drop some stuff off, and they look at it, and they estimate, and they give me a number. Can we track what those estimates are, so then when we get to the end, we say, ooh, okay, we estimated this much, but we really have this much.
Yeah, okay, that's a good point. I mean, we could do that based off of the receipts, but the receipts aren't itemized.
Right, but it's
So
just,
if you're mixing demo and
someone
others-
comes in, yeah, there's a, however they measure it, there's a cubic yard here, and they go mark down, you just have a sheet of paper
Almost get
that
one of those little,
goes,
like, ticker things,
right.
like when people walk,
It's just a quick mark down, date, estimated X amount, and then we have a total estimate, and then we can match it up against what's in there and come back and say, okay, we're a little light, we're a little heavy. We gotta calibrate our eyeballs a little better.
yeah.
I just thought, there's gotta be something we can do.
Yeah, especially when we know we're going to be hiring somebody new. Seems like a good opportunity to set some new guidelines of like, here's what we're looking for
Right.
as far as granular data. I think it's a good idea.
So there's two options, I think. One is you can go down and talk to Jason and actually show him what you're trying to do.
Yep.
And, he can then show you what capability he has and see where
Yep.
the gaps are.
Yeah.
The other would be to have him come in here. I don't know which way you wanna go.
Probably easier to go there, talk to them,
Okay.
being in the surroundings, a little easier than
Yeah.
theoretical.
Yeah, and just to say the distinction, like none of us individually would, because I don't want to like set a precedent right now. None of us individually go and say, oh, and now you're going to start doing this, because we can't do that.
No,
But if-
no, no, no.
So,
One
and I'm not,
it's
I'm not suggesting that's what you're talking about right now. I
Yeah.
just want to like,
No, it's
It-
just to go down, see what the environment is.
yeah. And if you realize, hey, this is exactly what needs to be done, then
Right,
we can talk about it.
right.
Yeah, sorry if that wasn't clear.
I
Thank you.
think what,
No,
what happens a
I'm-
lot is it's clear on this side of the table.
Right.
But then we hear.
Yeah, no, I get it. But no, I have no problem going down and talking to them. I can stop by on a Friday afternoon when it's not snowing.
Yeah, okay.
June.
We're done. I'm done with winter. I'm just telling you, I'm done. Hopefully it
Tell the
holds.
groundhog that.
Yeah, yeah, tell the groundhog. What else you have, Dave?
DES permit. I know you mentioned April. And who has to fill that out?
Jason?
Well,
Jason?
then it's a decision we need to make, because, were you around, Janice, for the site?
Yeah.
Okay, so, I'll probably butcher this a bit, but there are two broad categories of permits. There's the permit by notification, which is kind of a small town thing. We have, and are grandfathered into, what used to be the only type of permit, do you remember what it's called? Like
Just
your
a standard permit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which it was, if you get a standard permit today, it takes a huge amount of paperwork. We still have one. We can update that one. It was kind of 6 one, half dozen the other, because we could just say, no, we're now suddenly PBN, permit by notification, which would be a lot less paperwork, but it has more restrictions. But we are almost certainly under all the thresholds that the restrictions wouldn't impact us. But we do already have a full permit, so do we really want to give it up?
Right, but it does require updating. So if we're going to keep it, it has to be updated, and there's a certain amount of effort required to update it.
Yep.
And then every time it needs updated, there's all that, the PBN has less
Yeah.
updates
A-
required.
As one example, like if you change your hours, PBN, we just do it, we change the hours and off we go. Your full standard permit, whatever, I think that would involve a mandatory public hearing. And I don't think approval by the state.
It's definitely notification for sure. I don't know if it's notification and approval,
Yeah.
but you have to update the permit with the hours.
And if you don't let them know and start operating under different hours, again, this is just one example, then they can come and fine you.
So the PBN, did the restrictions on that affect us negatively?
No. We're
For a
under,
town our
yeah,
size,
for our
it's-
volume.
yeah, so like, no, it would not impact us.
And if we chose to go to a regular permit,
We do have a regular permit.
but if we went to PBN, and then chose to go back to a regular permit,
It would be a lot.
Start
Lot.
at, yeah, square one.
okay.
Where we are today, we would not be at square one, it'd be an update, which is, the way they describe it is like, if another town had an up-to-date full permit and needed to update something, it's not that big a deal, but ours is so old, it's not square one, but it's not a minor update, it's somewhere in the middle.
Square two.
Yeah,
So has anyone started doing anything with it?
no.
So
Not that I'm aware of.
how do we get that started? Because we're gonna be out of April
It-
quick.
So they were very friendly, I'll say that. They were friendly but assertive. And it's my opinion that if we said, hey, we have a new board, we got the town vote, we got the landfill cap, I would suggest we invite them in and update you two especially. So here's where we are so that we can make a fully
Well, I
informed
think
decision.
before we do that, we probably ought to decide, do we want to go with the PBN? Or do you
I was
want them
thinking
to
even a-
give,
'cause they
give
taught
another
us.
presentation?
Yeah,
Okay.
and just let them know we are, like, you won't have to do this again for another board. This is the board that will decide this based on the town vote, on the land vote cap. We're gonna make both these decisions together. And just,
Yeah, because in November, they didn't know you were gonna have this, in November, they didn't know you were gonna have this many new members, I think, because obviously the window for opportunity and filing was not here. So I think that approach is reaching out and saying, hey, we have a new board, we got some new members. Could you I mean, I found it very interesting walking around and talking to them that day. Was, I thought, very valuable to us.
Definitely.
And let them know that we put a landfill cap on the warrant, it was approved,
Yep.
we'd like to move forward with.
Do you want me to reach out to see if they'll come in? Is that what you want me to do?
I
For you
think
guys?
valuable.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
You're almost at the bottom.
Should, I was gonna say, should we put the fire station compressor on our priority list?
Yeah. Well, I think that's probably on Mark's priority list, not ours.
Okay, all right, so we'll
Yeah.
just leave it there.
Yeah.
That's it?
Is that right? That would be on
It would be, yeah.
their list, not
Yeah,
ours?
I think,
Okay,
the one that fills up the air bottles,
yeah.
Yeah.
you may hear from him sooner than, because as you heard, he does other towns, or he
Right.
did another town, but
Say, we
it
haven't,
should be on his.
Yeah.
we haven't heard from him this week about it? or you
No,
haven't?
no, I
Okay.
haven't heard from him. He knew he was coming next week, so you may get an update with that too.
Okay.
What do you have?
Nothing.
Lastly,
I'm
This
sorry, I
is-
thought you were done.
Mrs. Spratt asked last week about having some information on the administrator's report. I don't see it.
Can you remind me what that was?
Specifically what?
That was for the legality behind the opinion of the town attorney regarding 55 Winter Road.
Can I, when you say legality behind the letter that was sent out, is what you're asking?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So you want to know legally,
Well, what was the legal backing of her opinion? That's what she
okay,
wants
because
to
I
know.
sent over an original letter, and I give you both of them, and then she changed, not much. I had put a lot of detail in it. She changed it to what you guys saw as the draft, not you, but the
Yeah, I
rest of you.
think he's asking for a little bit more deeper.
Okay, okay.
What law or what,
Right.
what?
What RSA
Yeah, what,
Okay.
moves
We've
that
got
decision
we
to
got
this
the
board.
email, saying, well, shouldn't this have been a planning board decision? And I thought that was a good point.
yeah.
What was, I,
Oh,
sorry.
we got the email saying this should have been should this not have been a planning board decision?
Okay,
And I think it's a good question.
okay.
That's it.
All right. You said nothing? Nothing? Okay, I did send out a first draft of the legal RFP. Can we commit to reviewing that and discussing it next week as well, with the intent of getting that released?
Yes.
um,
For both?
Well, I think the engineering RFP is gonna take a little bit more work.
Okay.
I think we can definitely get the legal one done next week. The engineering RFP draft, if you've opened it, you notice it has a few more holes in it and things to refine. I also think that it would be good to have DPW and planning department, or maybe even the planning board, look at it, because
Yep.
that position interfaces more with them than it does with
Would
us.
you, do you mind me to send it to them before next week for comment? Is
I
that
was
okay?
hoping we could do it in parallel, if everybody's okay with that.
'Cause, they're actually, what is today? Yeah, they're getting together this week,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. And then maybe we can gather all their inputs up and our inputs and, look at it maybe on the 22nd. So do legal next week and engineering the week after.
So you wanna put that on the 22nd?
Yeah, give them some time and us some time, and
Because they're meeting on the 11th and the 26th, 14 days, 25th.
if they can't get to it, that'd be good. If we have to push it
Well,
out
if I
because
send
of
it to
them.
them, they can talk about it Thursday night and maybe get it back to you for you to look
That
at
would be
on the
awesome if they
15th.
could.
I'm just trying to,
So then the question becomes, what are the next RFPs we should begin looking at drafts for? I know you've got a list here, but what are the next ones?
so police dispatch, is on our list. So police dispatch, I don't know, we can put out an RFP, but I'm not sure how big of a broad you'll get because Goffstown's done it and they're all hooked up with us. If you remember, we went to capital area with fire.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we could put out an RFP, but just don't be shocked if you only get Goffstown, because for us to go to Bow or somewhere else is gonna be a huge cost with upgrading of equipment. So, we can get a price from them, but I just want you to know there may not be a lot of people that do an RFP for police dispatch.
That does remind me, somebody asked me, and I didn't have the answer, why police and fire are separate.
I don't know.
And-
Oh, that happened a couple years ago, before you came, we went to capital area for fire. That was part of a discussion at the, was it, at the finance committee. I mean, that's when Chief Azina was here, and there was more benefit at the time for us to go to them. And at the time, if you remember, the police was separated from us years ago and went to Bow. And then we get back to Goffstown from Bow with the police, and then fire went off. I don't remember the whole story, to be honest with you.
And that was done under the Board of Fire Wards, so.
That was, the fire was
looking-
done capital area under the Board of
Okay.
Fire Wards.
So we can look for minutes.
The police department, you would have been done at this level.
Right.
And I can't remember which police chief was, I believe it was, maybe Chief Kelly or Chief Valeka that brought it back to Goffstown. I don't remember which one.
So I'd like to add that to our, keep it under the fire discussion, but like, yeah, how are these decisions reached? And is there any benefit to putting them together? Should we leave it alone?
I think part of it was that they had, some of them, they had different, just different equipment, so on different, you know,
It was discussed too at finance.
Yeah,
So
I
know it
remember
was
the-
there
I
was a
remember
big
the discussion.
discussion about with finance, because it was a cost obligation to go to capital. As you know,
Yeah.
we're part of this group now, and it's based on calls and population.
right. And one of the things was, they were going to be maintaining the equipment. That was
Right.
not something that we had to do a capital outlay for. It was going to be basically operating expense. We pay we pay the monthly fee or whatever it was, and then they take care of the rest, as opposed to us having to put out and maintain our own equipment.
Does that include radios?
That included the radio equipment. I don't recall I don't think it had to do with the specific radios in the vehicles, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think it was that.
I think it was more the communication center
Yeah,
that we didn't get charged for, per se.
because some of the radio equipment we had was basically built from Radio Shack and some other equipment, 20 years ago or more, and it was kind of falling apart. And going this way allowed us to use their equipment, they were maintaining it, and we have a larger area, I believe, for it all.
We can also send you a draft of, I've got the 3 lawn cares that we did for specifications. I can send those to you. I have those in Word. We did IT and custodial. We could give them all to you and you could peek through them.
Okay.
I don't know that I've ever done one for dispatch.
Yeah.
But if you do IT, custodial or cleaning, lawn care, then you're down to police.
That would give us some
dispatch.
time to investigate the fire and police dispatch. What's the radio system upgrade?
I believe that came with the fire part, but I have to double check that one.
Okay.
I can double check with Beth what she meant by that. Because she's the one that created you guys this list when I wasn't here.
Okay.
But I can gladly get clarification.
Okay. All right. Last week, Selectman Bloom inquired about adding a section to our agenda for consent items. I reached out to New Boston and Amherst because I know that they operate with a consent agenda. Those are just the two towns that I know of. Are you aware of any others?
No.
No? Okay.
I know that there are others, but I couldn't tell
Yeah,
you which ones.
yeah, I just didn't want to go.
Henniker, did you say Henniker?
No, I didn't.
Henniker's one.
Henniker does? Okay.
Because I knew Henniker did it, because the gentleman that was in Henniker went over to New Boston for a while and was the TA over there,
Yeah.
and then he retired. I wasn't aware of the others, but I do know Henniker did it.
Okay. So I'll look through what they do and sometime in the near future, bring you back some, this is how they do it and what they do and
And
see if
what
it's
goes
something
in
we
it and
wanna
what
do.
doesn't go in it,
Right.
because it's a motion that
Yeah.
you accept the consent agenda, but I don't know what's in it and what's not,
Yeah.
to be honest
They've
with
got some ground rules on how they decide what goes in it or
Okay.
what they put in it, so I'll look through all that and bring that back to you guys and see if we want to do that in the future, but, and then I just wanted to mention that I did say last week that I started going through the town clerk's book of recorded policies. I made no progress on that this week, just FYI, I haven't done anything more. So, and prior I had a couple of inquiries about personal use of fire vehicles. Do we know what their policy states? Do we get that answer
I don't know
yet?
that we have, we've got a draft, but I can't find where it was accepted, per se.
Okay.
So I'm just thinking it was maybe started, but I don't know that it was completed.
So we don't know if there is a provision for them to use the fire vehicle for personal use or
I
not?
don't know that, I don't know.
All right, let's keep digging on that one. All right. And then on the East Road, back on March 26th, we had the meeting with legal counsel, and there were some action items associated with that. Do we have any idea on when we're gonna have all that information gathered?
I didn't get any more from municipals, other municipal agents that I asked, but I gave you what I get legal counsel from Municipal Association, I gave you what Primex gave me. Those are the only two that I reached out to, plus the listserv. Did I miss somebody?
I think we're talking about two different things.
Okay.
This was the meeting that we had on March 26th regarding East Road with
Yes, we are talking to you.
Naomi Butterfield, I believe is her name.
Mm-hmm.
So. And there were some actions that we were gonna get information, so I don't know where all that stands.
Okay. I was talking the other one, sorry.
Okay. Yeah, all right. Okay, well, now that Mr. Smith's here, we can adjourn. I really, that's about all I have this evening.
Just, Janice, if you were gonna come in, just, she's off tomorrow. I didn't know if you thought of coming in tomorrow.
To go over policies?
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
no, I usually call her and say, I'm coming on this date.
Okay, no, I just
Yeah.
wanted to know, that's what she waved at me for.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. No, it won't be tomorrow.
Okay.
I'll call her and set up some time. I
Alright.
just like her to know that I'm coming, and that way
I just
she
didn't
can
want you to
prepare
come
for
here
the
and have
books and
nobody
stuff.
here, so.
No, I usually let her know. Thank you, though. I appreciate that.
I've got one more little one. here. The,
Other than the agenda for, go ahead.
I just noticed again, the administrator's report, the list of selectmen still needs Janice listed as chairman.
Oh, man.
Thank you. Okay, so we talked about next week doing the fire integration discussion. We've got some information from MRI to look at in preparation for that. We're gonna have hopefully Sugar and Spice in here to talk about the lease. back to fire, is there anybody that wants to go through the Board of Fire Board discussions and see if there's any additional information other than what's in the packet that we got? That be of any benefit? I don't think we all need to do it. And then, second question would be, who's gonna draft the changes to the town policy or policies that integrate those 4 fire HR-related documents? There were substitutions, holidays, vacation leave, and bonus leave.
They're gonna be integrated into the personnel policy?
Yeah, aren't they? That's where they go, I think,
Well,
right?
I think we'll have to do, instead of trying to tie them like this, I think we're gonna just do maybe the fire department for now, just to put it in one binder. Because there is some things that cross over, but I'm not sure how. I don't know. I'm willing to try. I just don't know if we just make a fire department section or under vacation.
Yeah, I would think
that
that
way.
here's everybody's vacation and fire vacation, because it's
Right.
different.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so I guess what I meant by is there's a vacation tab, there's a sick tab, there's a other thing in the personnel policy, and then we could just, if it's number 9 that ends with 10 would be the next one, but we'd put it in the vacation section, is what
Yeah.
I didn't mean the whole fire department section, I didn't mean it that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, if somebody can go to vacation and they can look at all the vacation policies for everybody.
And I have it in Word, I can give it a try. Because I can undo the RFP and put it in there in a Word document. Because I can take it off RFP, I can take it off PDF and into Word, and then our document into Word in the same font,
Okay,
see if it lines up.
okay. So it'd be nice if we could at least have some kind of draft or timeline for getting that done next week when we talk about the fire integration. And I don't know if it's beneficial to have somebody from the fire department look at that draft when we get it done, just to make sure that we've interpreted it correctly. I don't know if that's beneficial or not. And that way, we're not screwing it up unintentionally. I don't know if that's somebody like Captain Hode or who would do that. I don't think it's chief, but,
I don't know.
okay. And then we'll, at least look at the legal RFP next week, and then, I think that's gonna be a pretty full meeting, but when would we have budget information?
Yeah, do you have BOS operations policy?
Yeah, okay.
I have that on the 15th.
That should be a quickie. And when are we gonna be able to talk budget?
During the snowstorm, she lost a lot of her spreadsheets, so
Oof,
she's in the rebuild. I won't put that on her for the 15th.
okay.
I'd like to do that the 22nd.
I suspect they won't be able to respond super quickly, but if DES, if we invite DES and they say, oh yeah, we could come Monday, I think we should prioritize that.
4:15 or
Okay.
4:15.
I suspect they won't, because it's
You never know.
a week from now, but you never know.
Okay, and then, 422, if we can get DES there, if they didn't come the week before, the engineering RFP, we're not gonna be able to do volunteer interviews before the 22nd because of
Right.
the timeline for posting.
Right.
So that would be our first opportunity to do that. And then, we had asked the Conservation Commission back in December to draft a new Forester RFP for 2025, and they had said April timeframe for doing that. I don't know that it's super urgent, but we said we would get back together with them and review that jointly before they put it out,
Yeah,
so.
they're meeting Wednesday night.
Yeah,
Yep, I'll be there.
okay. So sometime soon, we'll probably get that from them.
Anything else you want to relate to them?
There's an upcoming meeting, Dave,
Yep.
so if you
I'll
have
be
anything
with
else
them
you wanna.
Wednesday.
That was about it that I remember, but I'll send you a note if I can
Yep,
think of
if
anything else.
there's anything, let me know.
Yeah. And I don't remember when, but it was back when we did the performance discussions in the early March timeframe. We had come back and said that we wanted to do a signature page and employee comments,
Okay.
even after the fact. And I thought you were gonna draft that,
Me?
but I didn't write it down, yeah. Or was I gonna do that? Okay,
I can-
I'll do
I
it.
mean,
I'll do it, and, it will just say signature for the board. Of course, there's only gonna be 3 of us that were, out of the 5, that gave the performance discussions that can sign it, because it was the prior board. Space for the employee to sign, and a general box or free
Usually there's a
form
place for the
for
employee
the
to
comment.
comment.
Yeah. So, are you guys okay with me just drafting that and sending it to the 3 department heads, or do you wanna come and look at it?
I think that's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it's,
Okay,
It's signature lines, a box of signature lines.
that's it?
yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, so I will send that to Naomi to send out. Okay.
So the 22nd, just, I had written, custodial lawn care for, for me to talk to you, but send out your RFPs for those sample ones that I had.
I'm not sure I can get those done by the 22nd, but.
No, I'm
yeah.
trying to run 2 sheets like you are.
Yeah. Okay. We're good?
Yeah.
Good?
Good.
Okay. You good, Naomi?
Good as it gets.
All right. I will entertain a motion to adjourn if no one has anything
I
else.
have to say, I appreciate the thoroughness. Just, like, I know it's, it can get a little dry, perhaps, but like, to people, anybody watching, but like, I like that we have a plan.
Good.
That is weeks, even months out,
Well,
so,
We're gonna,
the
we're
surprises.
gonna try and
Yeah.
keep it up. I know stuff's gonna happen and it's gonna blow it up occasionally, but we're gonna get back on track when that happens, so. And try and anticipate things before they actually blow up, so. We're gonna try. I know we're not gonna be successful all the time, but we're gonna try. Okay. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Have a good night, everybody.